for stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
You know, this is our third try at getting Benny to come to our meeting. Benny had 2 ACL tears, and this is the first time I've met Benny, and I'm glad that he didn't tear his ACL coming after me. But with that, Keith and Benny haven't slept all night. They've been out doing their good work. So please have a warm welcome for Benny and Keith.
Thank you. Hey. Off. My name is Keith Harbujak, and this is my K9 Benny. A little bit of history about me. I've been employed by Noosa-Wickley as a police officer for the past 17 and a half years. I've been in law enforcement 24 years. I've worked several other police departments: Callery, Evans City, Lancaster, Mars, and Slippery Rock College. In April of this year, I retired from the Beaver County SWAT team after 14 years as an operator/sniper. In 2013 is when we started the K9 program. I was selected as the K9 handler for the police department. We spent the next 2 years fundraising. Once we saved enough money to buy the dog and the car, I was sent to Shallow Creek Kennels, which is located up Sharpsville by Hermitage, for 6 weeks of K9 training. They are like one of the most prestigious kennels around. They sell dogs to, well, when I was there, New York City came down and bought 60 dogs right off the bat. The Navy SEALs were there. A helicopter flew in from Maryland to look at some dogs. It's crazy what they do up there. But just to give you an idea, he is roughly $15,000. Yeah, he's quite expensive. Plus the car, plus the equipment, plus training. It adds up quickly. So most police departments are self-funded. So we always have to fundraise to, meet our financial goals, or the program dissolves. And, July 1st, 2015, I was introduced to a 15-month-old German Shepherd. And he's from Holland. And since that day, I was talking to a couple of people that we haven't been apart since. My wife and I, we bought a camper and everything else so that I won't kennel him. He's our boy, so he stays with us. All his commands are in Dutch because he is from Holland. Training. The first thing I learned why we use police and military dogs in our line of work. It's for their outstanding characteristics, which are sound nerves, self-confidence, trainability, watchfulness, loyalty, incorruptibility, courage, fighting drive, and hardness. Shallow Creek has dog vendors across Europe. Okay, they use these dogs for their strong bloodlines. If you ever seen an American German Shepherd, notice that their backs kind of slope down. And that's more of a bloodline thing. Over in Europe, they're very strict. I don't know why, but they're very strict on their breeding programs. So they only have the best of the best. So that's why they go out there and get them. Doing that, certain shepherds or shepherd breed is susceptible to certain diseases or ailments. With this strong bloodline, that kind of decreases. Doesn't mean he can't get it, it means it's less likely. Each dog that Shallow Creek buys is tested in their country of origin. After picking all the dogs that pass their tests, it's a medical exam done. Those dogs that pass the medical are shipped back and trained for their specific purpose at Shallow Creek, which would either be drugs or bombs. And you don't want a drug dog cross-trained as a bomb dog. Two different aspects there. A dog can either be a single purpose or a dual purpose. Benny is a dual purpose dog. They call him a patrol dog because he's drugs, apprehension, and tracking. Benny is trained to smell out marijuana, cocaine, heroin, and methamphetamines. He's also an excellent tracking dog who can track a person over multiple different surfaces: grass, asphalt, rocks, cement. He also can find a hiding suspect inside a structure or outside a structure. In training, we put people up in trees, and the dog will find them eventually. Smell. Ben. A human has about 5 million olfactory cells in your nose. A German Shepherd has about 250 million. Hey, nay. Hey, Let's. Needless to say, they can smell a lot better than we can. So here I have a dog that will do whatever I tell him for as long as I tell him to do it, pretty much. But why? What's in it for him? Off. Yeah. This is his paycheck. This is what he works for. See? That's all he wants to do is play. Play. He finds drugs, we play. He finds a bad guy, we play. That's what he does. That's all he wants is to play with this ball. He won't let go. Hey, look. Wait. Here. Hey, here. Lots. I have the ball. Relax. When he performs correctly, he is rewarded with the rubber ball. The exception to that is if he's searching for a person that's hiding and he finds that person, he gets a bite. Bite is a reward. Okay. Off. Equipment. The main piece of equipment equipment I use every day is this. It's a leash. You wouldn't think that this is, it's a piece of leather, but yet you can control this dog just through this. I can direct him wherever I want. I use a 6-foot for drug work, and pretty much everything else. This is what they call a waist lead. I keep it around my waist, drapes over my gun, just because I have a leash with me at all times. Just in case something should happen, I can still control it. The other one, off, like, is a 15-foot tracking lead. We track through the woods with this one. We also go into houses for suspects with this one. And he always wears a 2-inch wide collar because he pulls a lot. And if it's a thin collar, he gets hurt. So we like that wide collar. And off. This is a tracking harness. When I put this on him, he absolutely, positively knows what we're doing. We're not looking for dope, we're looking for people. Off. Sleeves. We use 2 different sleeves. This is what they call a hidden sleeve. Put this on, you put a large shirt over top. A lot of dogs only will bite that. Okay? This way, we get to see if the dog will bite a real person, like out on the street. A lot of them are equipment fixed, and they won't bite an unsleeved arm. This is a hard sleeve. You can take 100 dogs and they'll bite this all day long, and you'll never get hurt. This also is, my department wanted to know if we went into a building or whatever, and I got hurt, and he was there, how would they get me out? They were like, well, we might have to shoot him. No, you're not shooting my dog. This is always in my car. I always have a 15-foot nylon lead right there. So all they have to do is put this on, let him bite this, reach down, clip him, and walk him out. Now, he won't bite this with me. I don't know why. I've tried to get him to bite it when I'm wearing it, but he won't do it. So I would show you, but he won't do it.
I don't think anybody would put it on your phone.
Yeah, I wouldn't ask anybody to volunteer. The bite suit, I do have a bite suit also. That is good for leg bites. When you start running away, the dog jumps on your back and will bite. You can also do frontals, what they call. You can jump off a table and bite you. Contrary to popular belief, the bite suit hurts. You will come out of there black and blue, because these dogs are phenomenally hard biting. Let's see what else. Narcotics. I had to get a license from the DEA so that I could legally possess the narcotics that we used to train. After a lot of paperwork, the DEA did give me 28 grams of meth, cocaine, marijuana, and heroin. And we do that almost every training session. Members of my training group consist of Findlay Township, North Fayette, Robinson, Castle Shannon, Center Township, and Monaco Borough. Sometimes Mount Lebanon shows up also. Everybody takes a turn in providing a safe and realistic training environment. We train twice a month, totaling 16 hours. It's mandatory. We will continue to train until Benny retires. When that is, we'll tell you. So, people ask me all the time, will he last 6 years, 8 years? I don't know. home versus work. When Benny is at home, he's my dog. He's a dog. You gotta differentiate work and home. So he has his own room. He can go in and out when he wants. Lays on the couch. He actually watches TV sometimes. He's just a regular dog. When my grandchildren lived with me, my granddaughter would dress Benny up, put hats on, shirts. Not one time did he ever come annoyed with her. He would look at me like, help me, but he was awesome. Yeah, I couldn't ask for a better dog. When I start to get ready for work, and he starts to get excited. When I take my uniform off the hanger, he knows what we're doing. He starts walking around. So I'll tell him 10 times, go eat your food, go eat your food. You want to work, go eat. He won't do it. So when I put the collar on him, he understands. He runs right over to the food bowl and starts eating because he knows we're going to work. When he hears car keys, I don't care who it is or where it is, this dog is at the door ready to go. Let's go. Once he gets inside that police car, he's all business. I don't know if you've heard him out there. That's kind of mild to basically what he's normally like. Call-outs. K9 Benny and I have assisted police departments in Beaver, Butler, and Allegheny counties. Benny has found drugs in houses, office buildings, and cars. He has tracked burglary suspects, thieves, bank robbery suspects, and missing persons. I have to be careful when a missing person because at the end of it, he usually gets a bite because it's a bad guy that we're always looking for. So we have to be very careful with that, especially when it's a child. I don't think he'll bite a child, but I can give it to you. In late May of this year, we were called to track a fleeing suspect from the Great Police Department. Male dumped his motorcycle along Route 68 and ran through several residential yards and into a patch of woods. While we were tracking, Benny pulled me over to this one tree, and there was a black case laying there. Well, inside that black case was a spoon that was burned, residue on it. There was a needle in there, a couple other little empty stamp bags of heroin. So the suspect had it, threw it, kept going, Nick, and he we continued to track out the woods through another residential neighborhood, and we met up with several other police officers who said that a neighbor saw the man run into a house down the street. So we surrounded the house. Another dog that was in our class was for the sheriff's department in Beaver County. So we had both sides surrounded with 2 canines and several other officers. Because it was their jurisdiction, they cleared the house with the dog, Nick, and the suspect wasn't in there. So he was long gone. Normally what happens is we'll track, we'll come out to a road where they either call somebody, say, hey, come pick me up, or there's a car waiting for them. Leave the car drive away. So after we leave that house, we're walking back, and it was probably a good mile and a half back to the car. And I noticed Benny was limping. So the next day I take him to Dr. Huffnagel, who's our vet. He checked Benny out and he says, yeah, he tore his ACL. I didn't know they had ACLs at that time, but they do. So we tried laser and stem cell therapy. So that was 2 months down the drain because it didn't work. So So I took him down to EVSEC down on Camp Horn. They are by far one of the better hospitals for animals. That's Pittsburgh Veterinary Special Emergency Center. And Dr. Anderson examined Ben. He came back and said, yeah, Ben needs surgery. So on August 8th, they performed TPLO surgery. It's tibia plateau leveling osteotomy on Benny's right rear leg. And like I said, this is only the second week he's been back to work since then. What's funny is, back in, when I first met him, week 2 of the school, Benny pulled me off a set of cement steps. We were going to do a bike. We were doing bike work. He wanted to go get a bike. So, hurt my leg. Not thinking too much about it. So after school, still it hurt, but I didn't really think about it. So I went to the doctors, and the doctor said, yeah, you have a broken leg. You broke my leg. The funny thing is, my fracture was at the tibia plateau on my right leg. So we both have broken right legs. Certifications. Benny is NAPWANA certified, which is the North American Police Work Dog Association. The courts have only recognized 2 certifications for working dogs in the United States, and NAPWANA is one. This is a Benny, awful. This is a very stringent test, certification, I should say. Canine teams wanting to achieve this certification will be tested in obedience, tracking, area search, article search, building search, narcotics search, building and vehicle. Each team must pass each phase to be certified. Only master canine trainers are the only ones who can sign off on that team that they have met that criteria. Other than that, that's about all my notes here. Jerry, I'm going to take Benny, and I'll take him back there. I have 5 brown paper bags over there. Okay. This is a real quick demo of his narcotics here. Lots. Real quick demonstration of his narcotics. Smelling abilities. Okay. One bag has a glass marijuana pipe in it that I took off a kid probably 6 years ago. And the rest of them contain weed. Yep. Hey.
You want me to hide the bags?
If you want to like line them up, like probably like 1.5 feet, 2 feet apart. Here. Oh.
Don't think any of that.
It's a problem, the only one time, the closest I've ever been to drugs.
You sure?
Benny. Let's. Hey, let's. Benny, let's.
There's one more back there, Jerry.
Yeah.
Nothing,
I
we're
wanna
not
do that.
searching. We are not searching.
Okay, Keith.
Okay. I don't know if you noticed it before when he was over here. He was already air scenting. He was smelling the air. Here. And here.
He won't go to the person that hit the back.
No. Hey, here. Hey. See? Ben, see? Ben. Sure. Hey. Mind you. Is that it?
I don't know. I don't know which one it was.
Oh. Good boy. And it is the marijuana plant. As long as the ball's in his mouth, he can't bite anybody, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, the rest of them usually have a little bit of Halloween candy in there. He is, the only downfall with him is he's an attention hound. So if there's a lot of people like this, he doesn't want to focus on what they need to do. Oh, Ben. He's a German Shepherd.
How old is he?
He is 5.5 years old.
How long has he been working?
We've been together for 4 years.
When you're working, does he live in the
He has one. Problem with that is, when we get out of the car and we got to do something very quickly, there's no time to put that on. If I know we're going into a danger zone, that's a different story. But normally, once we stop the car, you know, if we're chasing somebody, it's stop the car, get out, look him up.
So the vest is provided for him
We have to buy that. There's nothing. They provide vehicle maintenance and gas.
Did they provide you with the bulletproof vest?
Yes.
But not him? He's a police officer as well, right?
Technically, yes. But we do have.
Could there be fundraisers?
Yeah.
Get the microphone.
Okay.
I got a question. My family's NYPD. My family's NYPD, and sometimes they say they hide cocaine and heroin and coffee and all kinds of things to throw off the scent. Any find it?
Yep. I mean, it's amazing. They can narrow that specific scent out. If you think of odor like smoke, it acts the same. The problem with that is if the wind is blowing this way and we're up here and the dope is over here, we're going to miss it because there's nothing, he can't smell anything. So unless we're downwind of smell, he'll walk right back into it. So we have to basically do a grid search if we're looking for something.
After 9/11 at the World Trade Center, they used dogs to search the ruins for humans. And I remember they needed protective footwear because of all the debris. Now, do you ever have to put protective footwear on your dog?
I do. If it's very cold out, I put it on there. If we go into a house that's very dirty and there are possible glass, nails, whatever, yeah, I put paw protectors.
You had mentioned that you will not kennel him. What would happen if you did put him in a kennel? How does he interact with other dogs? And how does he interact with just strollers, people out in the street?
Police canines are they're basically biting machines. So we try to keep interaction with civilians and anybody that's not associated with him at a minimum, just in case. Do I think he'll go out and bite somebody? No, I don't think so. I can't guarantee that. That's what he does.
You have any
heroic stories about him that he's done. I mean, there was one on TV not too long ago, made a big fuss over it. I just wonder if he ever did anything like that.
Heroic? No. Economy, at a bank robbery, we tracked that guy, and the guy ran over a fence, and he was wearing a hood, a ski mask. And then he found that. No, nothing like the dog jumped through the window and saved Timmy from the house.
What is the difference between a German Shepherd and, aren't there Belgian Shepherds or?
The Belgian Malinois,
Yeah.
Dutch Shepherd.
Yeah.
They're kind of from the same family, but the Shepherd is like a little larger and more furrier. Malinois are like more streamlined and muscular. And then Dutch Shepherd, they're just plain out crazy. But they look like a Malinois also. They have, their head is like streamlined.
Now, do they ever use that type of dog in police work also? Okay. Now, was this dog was shipped to the States from the Netherlands? Or Okay, Holland. And did it go to a trainer in the States, or did it come directly to you?
The owner of Shallow Creek, like I said, has different vendors all over Europe. So this time it was Holland. Goes over to his vendor over there. He'll go to different ones. So his vendor will have maybe 30 dogs. He will test all 30. Maybe 15 pass his standards. Out of those 15, they go to medical. If 8 pass that, all 8 come back to the States, to his place. And they are trained 6 weeks prior to the handler coming in. And then it's another 6 weeks with the handler. So, plus when they're over there, they're always starting basics. This is more specific to what we're looking for as far as police work. They're, before the owner goes over there, they're taught different things, and that's why it's all in Dutch, because they have to learn.
And how many Dutch words do you know?
Enough. He understands English pretty good too.
Okay.
Another question, Ben Roethlisberger's gotten a lot of publicity of donating either the cost or dogs to police departments. Do you know anything about his program?
Yeah. You submit, if you like, we got a Roethlisberger grant. We submitted paperwork to his organization, and they review it. And then they'll decide who gets what money. It's usually a $10,000 grant, and we did get one. So, like I said, Benny cost 15 grand.
Are there female police dogs, and if there are, do they interbreed?
I know there are female dogs, but I have never seen one. When we train, we always have to keep them separated because they all want to be the alpha male. So I'm better than you, I'm going to fight you. So we always have to worry about that.
Over here.
What are the telling signs that Benny would be slowing down and you need to think about retirement?
There are certain traits that I see him do every day. And when those things start to dissipate, it's time to reevaluate. But it's going to be, he's high strung, he wants to go all the time, so.
Is he not
I
as
will-
effective or what?
Pardon me?
Is he not as effective?
He'll be still effective, but he'll just be a lot slower.
Okay.
Over here.
What happens to the dogs that don't make the grade?
Of over there, or here, or?
Anywhere. I'm sure you got some mutts coming out of there.
Well, I've heard stories, and none of them are pretty good from over there. The ones that don't make it here usually end up with somebody's pet.
What happens, well, we had the example last week of this dog going in on the Arab leader. And are the military dogs trained the same way this dog is? They're not. All right.
They're trained, seek and destroy. You can't have that in the civilian population, so.
If he identifies as a person carrying drugs, is he trained not to bite?
No, drugs he will not bite. But we also can't sniff people. That's a Fourth Amendment issue. Unreasonable search and seizure. We're not allowed to do that. Now, if he just happens to go up to you and you have marijuana on you, and he sits down, then he went there on his own. I did not direct him to go to you. So the courts will look at that and say, we don't train that way. The dog just did that. In fact, when I first brought him home, a friend of mine, we had a little get-together at the house. His wife had some medication. And he kept putting his face in her pocket and sitting down. They finally come and got me like, what's he doing? I'm like, you got any drugs on you? Yeah. Well, there you go.
I have a grandson in the Fox Chapel school system, and my understanding is there's a canine dog and a police officer in the school all day long. Is that because of the world we live in? Is that going to happen in a lot of other school systems?
My school district is Freedom, and we have 2 SROs there. And it's not all that big. It is, unfortunately, the world we live in. I would rather have a dog in the school if I know my kids are there. It's just the world we live in.
I want to thank you for coming. I've raised German Shepherds before and I've bred them. My niece is now with one of the outstanding trainers who did go through the trade center with one of his dogs, and I've noticed the demonstration. He's done very similar to what you've done, but they've moved their business to Texas, and it's kind of unique. My niece puts videos on for promotion, and they have a lot of rattlesnakes down in Texas. And so she has a pet rattlesnake that she trains the dogs to scent a rattlesnake. And she put a video out with her dog. They're walking along a path, and she says, "Snake," and the dog jumps up in her arms. And it was kind of hilarious, but you can train the dogs to sniff anything.
They're that intelligent.
Do you discourage people coming up and trying to pet the dog?
I do, only because I can't guarantee that he's not going to be startled and turn around and bite someone.
That ended your thought. Now, it looked like, over here, Pat's, obviously, he's filming this event, but the dog, Benny, seems to be looking at this camera. Is there any reason for that, or?
Like I said, he watches TV all the time, so.
I'm just wondering whether you thought this might be a gun or something like that.
No. He does not like gunfire.
Tell me something. We're calling them German Shepherds, and we have, most of us in our life think of German Shepherds. And they're not even from Germany. You said that. Did this start with the Nazis, the prison war camps, and they used them as guard dogs? And they were German Shepherds. Is that where it started? Dogs like that to be used for this?
Actually, that was one of the first things that we learned in school. This Max von like Steppen guy in 1899 basically started the breed. And he took the best, like herding dogs and the emotional stability of another dog, and he combined them. And we come up with the German Shepherd, he has great herding abilities. He has great intelligence. He can, just the best of everything. There are other breeds out there that are also just like that, but this is what we use them for.
Now, when you're tracking a dog, or excuse me, when you're tracking a person, and let's say it's going over asphalt or some other type of pavement, how does the scent stick to that pavement? And if somebody's got a pair of shoes on, what are you using for a scent? Do you?
He will, basically what happens is when a person's walking, you drop skin cells. That's what they smell.
You drop what?
Skin cells.
Oh, really? Okay. Interesting.
So the shepherds or police dogs smell human odor. Okay. Like the basset hound or bloodhounds, they can smell a specific odor, and for a long time. So if you walked across the street a week ago and they had a specific item of yours, they could probably track you where you couldn't.
You said when you were at the training facility that New York City came and asked for 60 dogs. How big is this facility? Or do they have to now go out and order 60 dogs so that there's, a half-year lead time or something? How does all that work?
They usually have 30 dogs at the kennel because they have classes coming in all the time. 6 weeks, 3 weeks prior to the end of it, they'll have another group of dogs ready. So that when the next class comes in, I specifically ordered a German Shepherd. So they'll have one for me. Yeah, it's a business. They're business to make money, but their product is top of the line. And that's me.
When a police dog retires, do they generally become a pet of the handler, or do they go to a rescue facility?
Normally, it's the handler. I had it in my contract that when he retires, I buy him for $1. And I'm not putting all the time, blood, sweat, and tears in this dog and just kick him out. I'm not happy. It's part of the family.
Okay.
Is he neutered? Is that a standard practice? No.
How does your wife feel about the dog when you first got him? What'd you think?
She wasn't sure what to think, especially when she first saw him. She's like, "Oh my gosh, is he big?" After, when I came home with him the first time, and my wife was in the yard and my granddaughter, who was like 2 years old, he came right up to her and started licking her. It was love right then.
When you got the dog, did you name it or did it have a name already?
He came from Holland with the name Benny.
Okay, then.
Some people change their name.
When he's chasing someone who's running away, is he taught where to bite them when he catches them? Might he go for their throat? Or?
It's a possibility. We don't teach that, but he's going to take what's available, whether it's a leg, an arm, side. I haven't seen a head bite, but anything's possible.
If something happens to you, what occurs with the dog in its work?
If another handler is on, they'll get him to take him. But like I said, usually I can grab my sleeve, let him bite it, they can hook it up, put him in the back of my car. Or they'll call my wife, but normally it's another handler if they're out. And
Now, what percentage of the police dogs are raised from pups in the States, or does everybody go to Europe to get the?
no, not everybody. Shallow Creek does. I'm sure there are lots of canine vendors that stay in the States. They may have dogs from Europe, from, US, and breed. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that from Europe, their bloodline's a little cleaner, and they're not as susceptible to some of the diseases. That's the only difference.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, one more?
You know, I was a political thing involved in Steve Forbes. Steve Forbes was running for president, candidate. I was invited to the thing, so here they had a bomb sniffing dog before he came in the room, Beautiful lab. Went around, sniffed, just a friendly, and I could pet him. He came back, guy was satisfied, the room was clear. He laid down, I pet, beautiful dog. And there was some Secret Service men, clearly, in their suits, with German Shepherds. So then I go over to that guy and I said, "Can I pet your dog?" He says, "No, he's working." I'll never forget that, because that dog just looked at me like, "Don't reach out." I understood the message, but he said, "No, he's working." And he just sat there, though. He didn't bother anybody, but he was looking at me like, "What are you doing? You're talking to my guy."
Yep.
Okay, any other questions?
One more here, John.
Okay.
Will he take commands from another handler, or does it have to be between you?
He can. Where I'm at, New Sewickley, we have several other dogs around, and all those handlers are training with us, so he is familiar with them. So yeah, I believe that he would listen to them. He would listen to my wife. But if some stranger just came up and said something,
And also, when you're working, does he only take commands in Dutch?
I can tell him
So the bad guy
English.
doesn't-
He would understand it, like, especially if I put the tracking harness on him. He understands what we need to do. It's not like, put it on there and say, you can do it.
And when he's at home, is he treated like a pet?
Yep. He gets treats, and like I said, he lounges around, does what he wants. He likes to swim a lot.
He's looking at you.
How about a round of applause for Keith and Benny?
Hey.
Listen,